So welcome everybody, it's Kim from Inside My Money, and we've had a question about how do I see the categories in the time report when I'm also looking at my account balance. So I hope I've got that right. Just send me a message if it's different. So I'm going to show you how to do that quickly today. And you can get a certain way in HomeBank, but then you can export that information into Excel and you can do your own graphs and things. So that's some stuff that I've been working on that I will also show you in later videos. Just how you take the HomeBank information and then take it that one step further and say, well, now what am I going to do with this? Because this is a lot of numbers and there's some pretty graphs and it's really great. But then you've got to start thinking, well, what does all that mean and what decisions can I start making from this information? So that's in future videos, but right now I'll show you how to do this. So if we go up to reports and go into statistics, now right now what you see here is the totals report, and I've got percentages in there, but I'm just take that out. So at the moment it's totals. So if we just look at it for the last 12 months, for instance, then you can see that it shows you just the full amount of what Abby and Sam, our fictitious clients, received from wages and salaries, the total amount they paid in bank charges, the total amount in travel, etc. Now, if you go across to time, then it breaks it down by month, which is very helpful for a number of reasons. So first of all, I'm just going to start this from the 1st of August so that it's meaningful, because that's when they started. And you can see that there's also April and May in there under forecast. So that's good from the point of view of that gives you an average over all of those months. So we've got 4, 6, 8 months that they've actually put information into HomeBank, and now they're starting to see a bit more useful data on what they're actually spending on average per month. So that can help you from setting budgets or setting goals. I prefer to call them targets or goals as opposed to budgets. So you can see, for instance, that if we look at groceries, then they have spent on average $671. Now we need to take out forecast. So then if you look at forecast is where you can start putting in all your major bills into your scheduled transactions area and then see the minimum amount of money that you're going to need to have to be able to pay those bills each month. Because you know what your rent's going to be and your rates and generally your power and your phone. So you could put in those scheduled amounts and you could create a bit of a sort of minimum budget type amount. And start to see what your savings should be if you managed your discretionary expenses quite well. So that's for the forecast, but I'm just going to click forecast off because all I want is the actuals up until the end of March. So that's just me playing around with the dates on the left hand side, and you can also filter. So you might want to say, well, actually I don't want to include all of my bills. I just want to include my discretionary costs so I can see where the money's going on the things that I can control. So let's just see, for these guys it's clothing, it's dining out, eating out, for them. They don't have any education, it might be gifts, groceries, entertainment, hobbies, and then any household stuff, home improvement type stuff. Then we've got maybe memberships, miscellaneous, and then say use. So that will just show you your spending on your more discretionary type costs, and you can say, right, well, let's see how we went each month. So now you can look at it and say, right, within clothing you then do a breakdown. You can see your breakdown of where that money went to the different places. So that's just getting into the category side of it a bit more. But if we get into the account side, it's the same concept, but we just have to do a little bit more. So we're going to clear all of the things in the filter. So now we've chosen account, we've chosen time, so we can see how our accounts have moved over the various months. Now maybe we do want to filter on account and go click on that and go include, and all we want to look at is the everyday account and the credit card, because that's where all the expenses go. The rest are all savings type accounts. There's a personal loan which they're paying off, so go use. Then we click everyday account, and then if we come down here we can see all the categories. If we click category, then it will sort all of that for us, and we can do this. Now if we don't want to see the last 12 months, which is quite a lot of information, we might just do the last 90 days and click on everyday account again. Now what you can then do with that information is you can export it to a CSV, and then you can start playing around with it in Excel. Up the top there and go detail to CSV. If you do result, you'll just get the bit at the top. If you do detail, you get all of this bit at the bottom. So that's quite useful. Detail split lines, because if there's anything that you've split between a couple of categories, you might have one amount that's gone to two different categories, then you will want to detail your split lines, and I just let it go to desktop and then go export as CSV. Then we'll open it up. I'll just grab it and drag it across. It'll look like gobbledygook, and we'll have a bit of a play. So at the moment it just looks like a big bunch of stuff. So if we go click on that, and we can see that it's all in one column, so we're not going to go through and split all that out manually. That would just be painful. So we're going to go up to data, text to columns, delimited, which is I always choose delimited, because it's being split by commas or semicolons. So if you can see here, the information, pieces of information are being split up by semicolons, so we want it to put it into a table doing that. So semicolon, and that gives you a view of what it's going to look like, and then finish. And our date is too wide. Now we don't need things like payment, so we can delete that, and number, we can delete that. And up to you whether you want to keep all these other two. I might just delete payee. Depends, you keep them both. But if you want to do a bit of a graph, then you can change that. And tags, we definitely do not need tags. So if you then put that all into a table format, format as table, just because it looks neater, is easier, and you can also filter it. So now you can start doing whatever graphs you might want. You can do a graph, highlight just the eating out, and you can see how that looks over a period of time. So insert, recommended chart, and there it is there. Just go OK. It's weeny teeny. And I hate it when it puts the format, the axis there, so I always move it to labels below. Then I can actually see what happened. You can see that they've spent quite a bit of money at Brewtown. They've spent a little bit of money at ATMs. You can also put data labels on that, so you can see what that looks like. And I would just very quickly turn that into dollars, because that makes it, and get rid of the cents, because that's not really that important. So that's one way of seeing, of going from your report here, where you look at the account, break it down by category, and then spit it out into something that is actually maybe a bit more meaningful for you. So I hope that helps. Again, let me know if it doesn't, and I will try and answer it in a different way. But if you've got any other questions, please don't hesitate to send them through. Have a good day and good luck. We'll talk to you again soon.